Hi Kirby fans, welcome back to the channel, and today's episode what we're going to do is get that Ultimate G back together. So let's get straight to it. Hi Kirby fans, welcome back to the channel. Again, those who are new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure you check out all the other content, and if you find you're getting value from this content, then contemplate slapping that subscribe button, ding that bell for notifications, give us a big thumbs up, and comment down below. I will reply to the comment, and if I like what you comment, I'll pin it to the video. Right, so in the previous episode, what we did, we had that really disgusting Ultimate G that didn't work. It needed a new lead on it. I've polished it all up, so I'll quickly give you a view of what I polished up before and after. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight to it. Right, so this is how they looked before I polished them up. As you can see, they're all corroded. I did clean them, but they haven't come up the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish them up, and then I'll come back to it and show you them polished up, and then we'll start assembling it. And here they are, just buffed up. So they're going to need another going over, but I'll do that once I've got it all together again. Just keep polishing and polishing and polishing. But these have just been buffed over with the drill now. So I used a bit of silver first to get rid of all the corrosion I could. Then I used the wire wool with the Maguires, and then I put some more Maguires on and buffed it up with the actual buffer on the drill. So you can see on the floor I've got the Ultimate G all cleaned, even down to the armature. It's all pretty spotless. So what we're going to do is we're going to get all this together, and I'm going to see how this Ultimate G actually runs. I'm going to put another lead with it, so what we'll do is we'll get straight to it. Right, so I'll just zoom in a little bit. Turn that so I can see. Right, so we're going to get this armature back together. Bearings are fine. You can see now all the armature's all cleaned, so there's no carbon on there. Once the bushes go around there, that will lubricate it with some more carbon, but that's pretty spotless. Bearings are fine in there. If you watched the previous video, this was absolutely disgusting. So when you put this little top hat on, just put it on that way around so it spaces off. Alright, and then what we do, I've blown all this out, we get our armature and we just slide it through there gently so it goes in the centre. And then what we're going to do is put this front piece back on there. Now you've got an exhaust port here, you figure it out, okay, and the exhaust port is this side, so make sure that goes on with that exhaust port that way, and that will drop straight on there. Okay. It should all line up, which it does. Just turn it to the lines, and that, it should be all lined up. Okay, then all we're going to do is stand it like that, and we're just going to put these bolts through. So there's one of these, you just got to watch it don't over tighten, because it will warp it. So what I'll do is I'll just do them up loosely for now, and then I'll go back round with the bladder gun. Because you don't want to warp this. Turn it over. Okay, so they are pretty simple vacuums to work on. If you've watched many other videos, it's so easy to work on these. Obviously I'm more used to these than I am the early versions. So it goes in there. Because I've took that many of these apart, and if you've watched my previous videos, I've only done the Legend and the Heritage 84. So that now we'll just check that's tight, not too tight. So I'll just tap the trigger, I don't press it all the way. You don't want those being over tightened. And then this one. I think that's the one, if you tighten it too tight, it pulls it in and it will warp it. So we'll turn it over, and we're just going to put this back on. So there's a little plastic piece here, it's got a flat side on it, so just slot that in there. If you haven't got a spanner to fit in there, and it'll only fit on the end, then you might probably want to use a spanner on here while you put your fan on, but I'll do it this way because I've got a spanner that fits in there. And then if you have problems pushing it down, all I do is put it towards my body and I just push on there. Obviously try not to stab yourself with a screwdriver, but just press down and that will slot down. Okay, so next up we've got our circlip. So we get your circlip removers, slot it up on the head, slot it on the end, and it should open it partially for you. And then we're just going to slot that over there, like so. Squeeze it together, out it comes. Now that should be locked in. Now to check that's locked in, all I do is I'll get my circlips, just slide that around there, make sure that's in. If it's not, it will actually come off because it's not in the groove. So that's that part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly fit my fan. Now what you've got is your top hat washer with a little rubber washer there. So just slot that on there. Now you don't actually get these in the Legends, you just get the top hat, you don't get the rubber seal. You'll get a plastic washer and you'll get a metal washer, and then you'll get your spline. Now the only lubricant you're going to need when you put it back together is a bit of 3-in-1 and a bit of wheel bearing grease. Okay. All I do, you don't have to put loads in, less is more. This is just to give it a little bit of grease to that seal bearing at the front. So what I like to do is just wipe some in there, just to give that a little bit of lubrication. And then what I'll do is wipe the excess out with a bit of old rag. Just wipe that round so it sits in there, like so. I'll put that to one side. So I'm not using that, put the lid back on here. Okay, so then we get our top hat washer, slot that in there, get our plastic washer, which goes on there, and then our fan, then our metal washer, and then our spline, which is left, so left hand thread. Okay, and then all I do is I hold it there, hold the arbor, and this just tightens anti-clockwise, and that's probably enough to do it. And I've never had an issue with that, and that is spinning free as a nut. So from what it was, she's coming on. Okay, next up we're going to put our switch in. So the little screw I put in there, take that out, and we're just going to slide our switch back in. Once you line it up in there, and then it's literally grab it and push, and on it goes. Okay, we'll put our little screw back in. Just hold that in place. Now what I did with these, so you don't get confused, I put numbers on them. So I put 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 and 4. So obviously move that out of the way. So number 4 goes on the bottom. Number 3 is the next one up. Number 2 is the next one up. And then we should have number 1, which I've seen, which is this red one, which goes that way. Now this is just your other feed for your brush, and that just goes on the top one there. Okay. Now behind here you've got your 2 attachments for your light. So you'll have one that goes literally behind there. So don't put that brush in yet, because I find it easier to put that connection in there first. And then your other one just goes on the top here. Okay. Well, so now we're going to fit our motor back in. You've got an earth strap on the bottom, purely because you've got a metal base for the fan. Okay, so you've got your earth strap here, which will go on the top of the leg here, and the bolt will go straight through. and then what we'll do is look at probably changing the bushes. So push this through first, go through there, get that in line. Here we go. And what we'll do is we'll put these in first. So the ones with a washer literally go, oops, on the earth strap. Okay. Get the switch out of the way. Helps to put the right bit in. So put the right bit in, that'll probably help. And now we'll tighten that screw. That's one. Get the other one with the top hat on. And we'll put that one in. Just there, like so. Okay, let me turn it over and we should have two self-tappers which go in the bottom. Go straight here. Those are, there's one and there's two. So two self-tappers which just go in there, like so. It's got it. And that one, and that's got that. So turn that back over. Alright, now what you might notice is obviously this was all corroded. Now this was absolutely disgusting. This, I had to prise that out with a screwdriver and it absolutely trashed it. Luckily I've got a new one, so I'll just pop that in there. And that should push back in. There we go. Okay. So luckily I've got a spare one of those. Now that was purely because obviously it's been sat in the garage or the shed and it's corroded and the corrosion's all stuck to this. So all the powder coat was actually stuck to this, well to this should I say, and you can see by the state of it what I had to do. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my wheels on first. What I like to do is put my wheels on here first, because what happens, I don't want to get silicone all over my towel, so when I silicone this front base on, I don't want to sit it on there when it's all squeezed out and it's all going to stick over there. So I'm going to stick my wheels on first, so I'll stick the axle on. So we want our grease, our little spring, okay. And we're just going to put a tiny bit of grease in there. Okay, less is more. Don't need loads because it's just going up and down, that's all. Okay, just going to put a tiny bit just in there where that spring's going, and that is it, that's all you need. Grab our spring, push our spring in. Now these are quite easy, you just push that in there, so turn it around that way, push that up, and I've shown this many times. Might be a bit awkward because it's apart, but this will hold its own once you hook that on there and slot that over there. That will hold its own in place, like so. Okay, then what we want is our little brackets. I've cleaned all these were nasty. I'll just clean this with some wire wool as well, just before I put it together. Alright, so just put these screws in here. Oops. This one. And this one here. So I'll say my previous video, it's quite surprising that Kirby still use these brackets after all this time on the Avalier, but obviously it works. That's that. So now we'll put the wheels on. this side. Now you can put a bit of 3-in-1 in there if you want. I do sometimes, but this is quite clean anyway. Okay, then we just pop our covers on. As you see, because we push them off with a torque screwdriver, there's actually no damage to that. And then all that actually was, and I'll quickly demonstrate, is you get your torque screwdriver, and it literally, it's the next size up from this, but literally just pushes on the end of there. So when you've got it when you've got it in your wheel, you literally push it on there. Touches just and locks over the end of there because it's got a little hole in it, but it doesn't bend it, and that makes it easier to pop them off. And you literally push it off, and then you can take it off with no damage. So these are just little tips that people don't share, and I'm assuming that's probably how Kirby get them off as well, because they don't want to keep replacing plastic hubcaps all the time. Alright, so before you put your silicone around, what I suggest you do is grab a little Stanley blade and just get all that excess old silicone just off there. Okay, keep your fingers out of the way so you don't cut them. Just get all the old silicone off. Now you can see this is old grey silicone, so this is the original silicone that was actually on it when this was made, so I don't think this was ever serviced. And this is a 2000 model, so it's 20 years old. I don't know how long it was stuck in that shed for, or garage. Now this part doesn't seem to stick to this too bad because it's plastic, so it's very rare to get any silicone off there. Okay, so just put that back in there, and then lock it off. Now this is just general silicone. I do get this from Kirby, but you can buy it from your local hardware store. So what we're going to do is I'll put some around here. What you want is it to squeeze, it will squeeze out the excess. I'll just put some around the bolts where the bolt holes go. And this is something Kirby never did on the early Legends or the Classics, but I think they learnt as they went. But if you can seal the air suction, then it's going to make it a lot better without the air escaping. Okay, you don't need any on here because that is open, so it's just this side and around where that bolt goes, and then across the top of there. Now you can smear it with your fingers if you like. I wouldn't suggest licking your finger, because it doesn't taste too good, silicone. Alright, then I'll put that in there first, because that just makes it easier to locate. And what we'll do is we'll lift this up, grab it in the centre, try not to choke on the silicone, slot that bit in there, make sure that goes over your safety switch. There we go, and in she goes. Now I'll put my countersunk one in first, because that one locates quite easily. So put it in, but don't tighten it up. So next up is our bottom two. So these are sort of self-tappers. Okay. And those just go in the bottom, right there. And just tighten those up. Right, so I'm going to change these bushes. I'm going to put some new ones in. We've lost, I don't know, third, but I'm selling this on, so I'm going to put new brushes in it as well for them. So just unclip that. So I've got our brush. These are a bit of a nightmare when the springs jam up, so I've managed to push that in. So it's just a case of trying to hold that now. so it doesn't fire out, and put that in there, which is the little lip going up. Let's move that all out, that's it, so that just goes up there, slots in, pushes down, and then we'll just put our screw in, like so, and then I'll take that one out. Okay, again, don't round it or thread it, just pull this one off, and that just clips on there, like so. Oops. And then slot your wire back in the back of that brush. Okay, now we've got to get our light in here first, so I'll come to that mix next. So we'll leave that to one side for now. So actually I'll put that on the floor, and we'll just assemble our light back together. So with our light, it's just that little bulb there. That comes along there and just slots in here, like so. And that cable runs across the top of there. Like so. The idea is to get that little plastic bit under there. So say you're doing all this, I normally just slide that under and then get that in line. And then you've got two little screws, because you can pull this cable back once you've got it in situ. Okay, so I've just slotted that on. So we've just got two little screws. One goes here and one goes there. If you've got big fingers like me, it's an absolute nightmare to get them in. So what I have to do is sort of get them on the end of the Torx bit and try and hold them in situ while I get it into place. So once you get in situ, it will, or should, screw in and pull that down, like so. This side as well. These are probably the most fiddliest Kirby screws to actually get back in. Gone. It's gone. There you go. Okay, so just don't over tighten them, because you don't want to thread them and you don't want to crush the plastic, but they just nip up. Nice and neat like that. Okay, and that should just pull up like so. Okay, then we get our light cover to go over there. And that is literally pushes the top in first and then press the bottom and it's in. Okay, I've got a gum all over it. I'm going to have to give this a polish again once I get back together. So that's that section. So we'll bring the top back up now and get this on. Right, so before we fit our top, we're going to want to put this vent, which goes back in the side there. So you've got this one here. Unlike the Centriers and the Avaliers, it's all pre-cast in them now with the plastic, but this was actually metal cast and then a plastic bit that slots in. So that just slots in there. Okay, and then we slide this down, whoops, and it does do that all the time, so you have to be really quick when you're grabbing it. So if you grab it with a screwdriver, just in the middle, just to hold it in situ, that way then you can get that in, just to get it locked in place. Then you take the screwdriver out and then slide that down, and that pops in. Now there is a little self-tapper that goes in there. From the Centuries onwards, Kirby never bothered fitting that little screw, but we'll put that back in, and that is a little Phillips screw. It's in there. Ugh. and just mind the silicon's still tacky on top. That's that. So now just get a rag and wipe my hands because I'm covered in silicone. Now, like I've said before, I don't like to put this brush in because you've got to connect this light. Now this light goes right behind that bush, so it's easier to put the light in first and then just wiggle this out of the way. So your top one goes in there and your bottom one goes just behind that bush right there, which can be a bit of a pain to get in. So what I tend to do is get it in situ, just in line, and then just push it. I'll try and line it up with a screwdriver just to get it in line. There we go. And then I get the flat end of the screwdriver and just help guide it and push it in, try not to damage the wire. So you just push on the plastic, not the actual wire, and just make sure that's in, and that is in now. Now we can put this brush back in. So I'm going to replace this brush. So let's pull that one out, pull that off, and we'll put a new brush in. Okay, so if you're having problems getting that little spring in, what I tend to do is just get it on the deck and just literally keep pressing on that spring just to get it to slot, because what it tends to do is slot in and out this little gap here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little gap and the little spring, the curve of it sticks out there, so I just tend to push it in, and eventually it goes in. So then you can hold your bush. And we'll just get this bush slotted in situ. So keep that wire out of the way. So you've got a grey wire here, that's going to be a bit of a pain, so I tend to push that bush in there, like so. I'm going to twist it, get the bottom half in first, get it to slot in, which it has, and then slot it down. Now that's in situ, and then that will slot in there once we connect it back up. So we'll just put our little self tapper in. Again, don't over tighten it because you'll end up threading it. So that just pushes on the end of your brush. Like so, and then just slot that cable in the back of that brush there. And it wants to go. There we go, and that's in. Alright, then spin this over, and that will line up there. Okay, that will cable tie with there, so that will sit there anyway, just out of the way. So you just got to watch none of these are catching when you put this back together. So what I'll do is I'll put two little screws in here for now. Oops, change that bit. Now these are pretty generic screws all around the generation. The little ones, you've got the same screws that are here and here, and vice versa. Some hold the tech driving as well. Now we've got our two long screws, which will go through the front here and there. Now again, just tighten them loosely so you know they're not threading. Once you've got it, it'll be fine. So slowly, just till it lines up. That's it, and then tight, and then that one tight. Okay, now we can tighten the two at the back. I can't remember if I did, don't think I did. One, two, just make sure no cables catching, that's fine. Now these are the wheels that I took off it, and they're not too bad, but because I'm selling it on, I'm going to put some new wheels on there. And I've got one hubcap. Now these are the Centria ones. Yes, they're a little bit darker, but I just think it'll be a lot nicer for it. If I can get some lighter hubcaps, I will, just to put on there, but for now we'll just put these Centria wheels on. Again, these just slot on there, so get your flat bit, those will slide on there. Now I've done a video on changing wheels. If your wheels are ever stuck, just spray a little WD over there and leave it overnight, because what happens is these sometimes corrode from the shampooing if you haven't dried it off properly, and then it seizes to that. Then we've got our little circlip, and that just slots over there. Okay, then you push it over your nails. Then what I do is just turn it, just make sure it's turning, that's fine. Get your wheel, make sure that's not going to come off, because you don't want that coming off while you're using your Kirby. It will land in there and it will fall out through that back hole. You'll either vac it up or you'll lose it. Now I might see if I've got some centre of front wheels to make it match. If not, then I'll try and get some hubcaps for it. It goes on there, and then our circlip again, just slot it over. You can literally push these on with your fingers and your nails, just over there, and it should go on pretty easy. There we go. Okay, so again, just get your circlip remover, just turn it so you know it's in that slot, it's not riding up, like so, and then obviously check your wheel isn't going to come off, and then we'll put that back on there, like so. That's two. Okay, next up we're going to do our drive adjustment. Now what I'd like to do with this is just put a tiny little bit of oil just in there, and just literally so that lubricates that. Okay, whoops, don't spill it on my table, I'll be murdered. Okay, you don't want to put any oil or any grease in here, it's just going to cause you complications. So then we get this, and this attaches that way, so through there, slot it in, and then just twist it over, and that should do there. Now what you can do, and I'll just take this off just to quickly show you, if there's a bit of a gap, oops, okay, so if there's a bit of a gap here, you literally, what I'll do is I'll put this on a block like this outside, so I'll literally sit it on the block, and then I'll get a little flat screwdriver and just tap this down just to stop that coming loose, because these have a tendency to pop off. I've never had it happen, but there seems to be a lot of videos out there, and it's mainly the G7s for some reason, and I don't know why. I've never seen any later models, just G7s, which is a bit weird. So we'll just put that in there, slot that over, and then we get the tiniest bit of grease, so make sure it's in drive when you slot it in. Again, less is more, and you're just going to literally put a little bit of grease just on there for that to move up and down, and a little bit of grease on there for that to slide in and out, and that is all you need. Okay, 9 times out of 10 you can tell if your Kirby hasn't been serviced since new, because 9 times out of 10 it's a pink grease that's in there. Okay, then we slot that in. That should lock in place, which it has, and there's a little pin here, a little plastic pin slots in place, and then we've got our bolt, which has just got a little washer on it, a little locking nut washer, and that's the correct bolt to go back in there. Okay, so we just tighten that up. That's not going, so it's not in line, so make sure it's in line. It's going now, and that's in. Okay, so now that should activate that. Sweet as. Right, so I've brought our Kirby back up, and we're just going to drop this tech drive in. Now what I'll do is I'll just grab a new one of these, a new belt. Okay, so here's that, there's our old belt, and there's our new belt. I will put a link below where you can actually get these from. They come in a pack of 5. 9 times out of 10 you don't have to change them, but obviously this is like 20 years old. What I like to check is just if they're going brittle inside. This one isn't, but I can feel it's a lot stiffer and more hard rubber than this, so we'll put this one on. So to get that in, we literally lift this bar up, make sure that's in drive, You're going to slot that up through the bottom, like so, and that slots straight in. Don't push it all the way up. Get your belt over and your belt over your centre wheel, and then slot it up. Okay, there's no tensioner on these. So then what we do is we'll flip it over and we'll put our 3 screws in the bottom. Okay, and these are the same generic screws that we've got all the way through the Kirby. It's just these little ones which you have on the other side of your headlight, holding that headlight bracket in. So there's the same wheels that hold the wheels in. They're quite generic on the Generation series. That's that. Okay, now we'll flip this over and we'll put our tech drive adjustment in. So we've got our bearings. Okay, so what we'll do, just get a tiny bit of 3-in-1. And what I like to do is just smear a bit in there, not too much. You can always wipe it out. Less is more. Oil and grease are going to attract dust, so just remember that. The amount of put in there will account for there. Then we'll put some on here. Doesn't matter which way around you do it. Okay, get your bearings back and forth, and then get your other plate which goes on the top there, like so. Alright, spring side down, and there's no front and back to this. It goes one way or the other, doesn't really matter. So slot that in, like so. And then you've got your adjustment, which is here, so just put that in there. We'll get our 4 screws. Now we're not going to over tighten these because we're going to allow for adjustment when we fit our yoke. But what you don't want is any left and right movement when you fit your yoke. Now all 5 screws are the same. Okay, so we'll just tighten those up, but not too much. So we're just nipping them, and this one down as well, and that one, because we want to allow for movement when we put our yoke in. So we'll just grab our yoke. Okay, this is a lot cleaner than the last time we had it. So you've got a little hole here, a little slot that just goes on that front fork there. If you've got the old G3s, G4s, you've got like a little rivet hole, a little rivet head, and that goes in between the two. But for this, it just slots on the front. Okay, so make sure it's slotted on, not slotted on the back or in front of it. It will cause you issues. Okay, and we'll just put these in. Okay, we'll tighten them up, just nip them up just to see if we've got any movement, and then we can adjust them again if we need be. But for these, all you do is slide that yoke forward until those bolts are roughly in the middle. And that's roughly where it needs to be set up. Now if you look, we've got left and right movement. So to adjust that, we're just going to tighten this down until we start getting, still moving, a bit more, and that now is not moving, but that's moving back and forth. So there's no left and right movement, so that's fine. Now you can tighten these 4 up. Just make sure your Torx picks slotted in properly so you don't round them off. Okay, next process is the lid. No, it's not. Getting ahead of myself. Next process is the on and off button. So next up, we're just going to fit our on and off switch. So you push that on there. What you can do, and all I'm going to do is just put a tiny bit of grease just on there. I know it's plastic and metal, but it just tends to help with that movement. There's a bit on there and a bit on there. That's it. Right, so with this cable, that just goes there, just inside that cable tie. You've got to make sure that sits not over this, just against there, otherwise it will catch. Just make sure all your cables, that just lies across there. Make sure it's not rubbing on this belt, so it's out of the way of the belt and that cable tie's got it nice and neat. Your light opens. And then what we're going to do is slot our switch in. Like so. And then slot that over. And that should all locate, which it does. Okay, so then we've got two self-tappers that go in the front. Countersunk. So two countersunk heads that go in the front. And then we've got our generic ones that just screw in the back through there. So put these two in first. So put our countersunk ones in first. So don't over tighten them. Just start them slightly and slowly. Don't fully do them up, just to make sure everything locates correctly. You don't want to thread anything. And then get your two back ones. Like I said, they're generic ones. They're everywhere on the Generation series. So let's tighten these up. It's just going to fit our new lead. Just slots in there. A little bit of a different colour. The cover plate goes over there. There we go. Got a screw goes in there. So just tighten that up. Again the top there, so we slot this in first, slide our lead under, got a little screw that goes in there, so that just goes in there. And hopefully this baby will work. Oops. So we'll give it a try. Right, so we'll just try this out now. So I've put a G4 head on there at the moment because I'm waiting on a G7 head. I've got to go and pick one up, and I'm just using the dirt meter, so we'll just see how she sounds now. So headphone users, turn them down, sorry about that. And that's working fine. Let's just try the switch. And that's working fine. Well, so I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it was really informative for people that have bought a second-hand Kirby. It just goes to show that something as disgusting as that, you can actually get back on track to a nice standard. So again, those who are new to your channel, if you're getting value out of this content, then do us a favour, if you haven't already, slap that subscribe button, ding that bell for notifications, give us a big thumbs up, and comment down below. I will reply to the comments, and if you like what you comment, I'll pin it to the video. So again, I'd just like to thank everyone for watching, for all your support. This channel's growing really, really fast, and it's much, much appreciated. So I'd like to thank all my continual subscribers. You're doing a fantastic job. As well as that, I'd like to thank everyone who's sharing this channel. It's much, much appreciated. As I've said, It makes it grow. The comments, the likes just make this channel grow, and it's only fair to let's get it out there and get it shared and let everybody who has actually got a Kirby discover this channel and the benefits of it. So what I'll do is I'll give a shout out to my new subscribers, and then we'll jump to the bloopers. Right, so just give a shout out. I've only got 4. There's about 12 people subscribed, but obviously your subscriptions are hidden, so I don't get notifications. Otherwise I'd shout you out. But I've got a Drew Castle. So thanks for subscribing, thanks for supporting my channel and helping me on this journey. I've got a Melina Rodesno, so thanks again. I've got a Kimberly Martin, and I've got a John McFarren. So I'd like to thank you for all your support and your continued watching. Thanks so much, it's much appreciated. So enjoy the bloopers, and I'll see you in the next one. This was the one where I stripped it down. If you've done that, and you... Now you only look at it.